sure enough, we did it, and she did get her photo ID, and there was no charge, but she was a senior, and she went, you know, happily down the road. But fortunately, she happened to know a state senator. You know, we went through weeks of aggravation trying to get her what she needed so that she could become legal, you know, in order to get the benefits that were due her. And I just get a little worried, even, you know, with signing this affidavit and then having 6 days to prove who you are. This took me weeks to help this woman, and who I knew for, you know, over 30 years, prove to the rest of the world she really existed. So, yeah, what do we do for the other folks like my friend Ethel, who,
well, I hope you would have called us first right away when you went through all this, and we tell folks to do that. We do have an exceptions process. I don't say this out loud a lot because I don't want people not to, you know, go through the formal procedures that they need to go through. But we do make exceptions, as you've seen, and there are opportunities to do that for folks who have those types of issues, and we do that all the time in the Department of State. So, you know, if you come to us, that's one of the options that, you know, we can do for you. So, but that's going to be one of the challenges, and we know that. We're going to be out there promoting the procedures and what you need to bring in your driver's license if you don't have one, and appreciate you reminding everybody if you're a senior, you get one for free. You know, so we want to get that information out there.
If I could, Senator, just in that situation, if your constituent friend were on the voter registration list, again, she just signs the affidavit, she gets a ballot, she votes. There's no coming back 6 days later. So, you know, if she were a registered voter, yes, she would have to sign the affidavit, but she would vote.
You know, people need to be pretty sophisticated to, you know all of the ins and outs of the system. So I think we, you know, I'm glad that you're trying to make things easier for people, but I think we have to really bend over backwards to make sure that nobody's disenfranchised from the system. Thank you for your indulgence.
Yes.
Chair. Okay.
Senator James.
Thank you, and welcome my constituent.
That's my senator.
Thanks for coming. I happen to, just because you're here, I'll say it, but I say this often, but I love what SOS is doing, and you guys are doing a great job. I appreciate it very much. So keep it up. In the list that you gave us, there's a lot of technology, so I don't see any. As your senator, I know you want me to ask this question, what's it going to cost us? Because we have appropriations we have to go through, and somebody has to pay the bill. I heard there's some federal dollars, okay, there's a possibility, but if you don't have it now, that's fine, but maybe in the future we could be looking at what kind of price tags.
Yeah, fortunately for you all, with the federal government getting more involved, they did give us money under HAVA, the Help America Vote Act, so we did get $100 million. The majority of that money, as you can imagine, was spent on the equipment for the AutoMark and the optical scan system, and that's the majority. But we do have some resources left, and some of these do fall under that, so that we can do that with electronic poll book and some of those other issues. Campaign finance, though, does not fall under that. We can't do any campaign finance with that money, so that would have to come from you all. But a lot of these issues we can deal with that. And a lot of them actually is local clerks issues, too.
Last thing is I have to renew my license by midnight tonight. So where's the nearest place?
It's right down on Main Street here.
Yeah, close at 5.
Yeah.
Block away.
Yeah. Block away at
close at 5, so I'm not concerned about that. So.
You'll make Wednesday. It's Wednesday. We're open till 7.
All right. Okay.
I have Senator Schauer and Senator Brown on the list.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for being with us. My colleague asked about the Postal Secretary of State's office. You alluded to them in talking about their role in the elections process as it relates to registration. So I've got to ask you, obviously you have heard from some of us. I met with Doug Novak and James Fackler to talk about your intent to close several Secretary of State's offices. In my district, Marshall will close. The current Battle Creek office would close, and there would be some kind of new office. I don't have any detail. Hopefully, you saw the 1,200 signatures from Marshall residents. Chris Olson, the city manager, wrote you a letter about the concerns that face that community. There's a lot of uncertainty. It's a relatively there are a high number of seniors there. Fewer folks have internet access. There's not countywide transit in Calhoun County. It's a busy office. There are over 91,000 transactions there. So the question is, you know that the Senate passed in the general government bill language on a bipartisan basis to keep current offices open. The House did something similar. There have been rumors that you may be moving to close these offices before September 30. Can you tell us what your plans are? And I hope you will work with me and my constituents to keep our offices open.
You know, when I ran for Secretary of State, one of the things that I talked about is how we can do more with less. And in these tight budget times that you all are having here, we're trying to help the state of Michigan and making sure that it gets done. And we want to be as efficient as possible. And I talked about this when I ran. I talked about it in my inaugural address, my second inaugural address. So this is something I've been talking about for a long time. My first term, we moved over 50 offices. We consolidated some offices. And you'll talk to any of the mayors and cities that we did that in. Everybody's very happy. We've been able to bring more services out, instant titles, driving records, mechanics testing. The reality is we wanted to keep our great customer service people, and that's our employees. And we knew in these tight budget times, a lot of folks were laying people off, and we didn't want to do that. So our commitment was to our people in the state of Michigan with great customer service. So we wanted to save the money from the bricks and mortar and modernize our offices. We have a lot of offices that are 2 and 3 people, very small, very expensive to run. And by merging offices together that are literally 10 and 15 miles down the road from each other, we can deliver more services. And if you've been to our Super or our Plus offices, you can see how well they're run. Very efficient, you're in and out. And one of the things that we've done too is created self-service centers, which are automated machines. The majority of what we do is tabs, renewals. We do 20 million transactions a year, 10 million of those are tabs. And to find more efficient ways to do that has been our goal. We've done that through online, we've done that through self-service station, and there's always the stamp. I encourage everyone to use the post office. It's a great means of getting your business done. You can mail that in, and that's what we've encouraged everyone to do. The costs are a lot less for us that way than in our branch offices. And we saw the need in different areas to merge these offices to make them more efficient. When I have some of these smaller offices, as I do in Marshall, I don't have an assistant manager there. So what happens, unfortunately, is folks come in, need an exception to the rule, or have a situation with a voter who needs that card and needs an exception. Our frontline clerks don't do that. And so with the larger office, I get to have an assistant manager there who then can handle that so they don't have to go home and come back. We don't want anybody to go home. We want people to get their business done right at the branch. And that's been our model, and that's been our goal since we first started over 5 years ago with this program. And we've had nothing but positive from all the places that we've done it, and we look forward to a positive experience for the next one.
So are you planning to close these offices by the end of this fiscal year?
We're planning to do the program that we implemented over 6 years ago, and that's to consolidate where it makes sense, to work with the communities, which we have done, and we've talked to the communities each time we've done this, and we've encouraged them to talk to the other communities where we've done it, where we've been successful in doing this, and it really has been a benefit to the citizens. I know it's tough to see when you haven't been there, but I would encourage anyone to go. Our Plus office downtown here in Lansing is an example of what our Plus offices look like. Our Supers, we've got 5 of them now, a new one in Pontiac, and they really have given more extended hours, give more opportunities to get your business done, get more of your business done there rather than Lansing. For example, you used to have to get driving records in Lansing. You can get it at these Plus and Super. You used to do mechanics testing